श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते रामपाद स्वामी इति नामिने। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी आश्चर्यदेशकारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। पूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजा पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। The topic, the two-part topic from my side today. Do you hear an echo? Already my voice once is painful, twice is even more. Okay. The two-part is Agni Pariksha, the trial by fire. Since we have two sessions, I'm not going to rush through this topic because I feel it's important to build it, properly frame it, so we have the right context in which we can at least come to know about it. Whether we understand or not, I don't have the capacity to understand the nuances of this pastime, but it is a very significant pastime. We heard the word, this is the Ramayana, and Maharaj explained that Valmiki writes in the 4th chapter of the first canto, Balakanda, that after he had composed this entire epic, he had to give it a title. So either after or before, he has to give it a title. And he considered different titles. Ramayana. We all know the word Ayana, etc. So Rama Ayana iti Rama. Ramasya Ayana. This is the movement of Ramachandra, the character of Sri Ramachandra, therefore Ramayana. But then he is one who's saying that there is also Sita Devi. And so he says Sita Yaha Charitam Mahat. This is also the great character. We're talking about the great character of Sita. So the Vaishnava Acharyas who comment on this say, when it came to Ramachandra's character, he says Rama's character. But when it came to Sita, he said Mahat is great. And the third was Paulastya Vadham, the killing of the descendant of Pulastya, that's Ravana. So he said the apt title is Ramayana because it is also, Sita is also included in the title. One of the names of the goddess of fortune is Rama. Ramayaha Ayanam. The pathway or the character of Rama becomes Rama. Rama is a derivative word. Rama is about Ramachandra. Rama means of Sita or that coming from or related to Sita. So Ramayana also means Sita Devi's character. So perfect. And he doesn't waste too much time. Right at the very end of Balakanda, chapter 77, after Sita and Rama have been married, Valmiki describes the love between Sita and Rama. And this is important because whatever is going to come up, people may have some doubts. Because it may look like the ordinary strife or struggle between a husband and wife. So what we will do is so we will look at some verses from the 77th chapter, the last few verses of the 77th chapter of the first canto, where Valmiki tells us what the love between Sita and Rama looked like. I'm just going to read it, but I will explain it. Originally, when I was scheduled to speak this, it was out in the outdoors somewhere. I don't have anything to project, but it's okay. Our process is still here. Manasvi tad gatamanasya tasya hridi samarpita priyatu sita ramasya dara pitru krita iti gunat rupa gunat chapi pritir bhuyo abhivardhate. Some words we may recognize, others there. These two, Sita and Rama. Manasvi, Ramachandra, who in his heart, that Gata Manasya, he entered the heart of Sita. Tasya Hriti Samarpita. He had dedicated himself to or established himself in her heart. Priya to Sita, and she is his most beloved person. And the love between the two is such that Valmiki says, Gunad, Rupa Gunad Cha Api. Pritir Bhuyaha. Abhivardhate. Abhivardhate means to increase. Vardhana means to increase. Abhivardhate means mutually increased. And how did their love mutually increase? Rupa Gunat Priti. When Ramachandra would gaze at Sita Devi, she would be so happy that her beauty would increase out of that joy. And looking at her, he would be so pleased that his beauty would increase even more. And looking at him becoming even more splendorous, I mean, he's already the most beautiful person, so this is perfect, more perfect, most perfect, and continuously growing. Like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells us, Anandam Buddhivardhanam. It keeps on increasing. That she would become even more resplendent beauty, all her features would shine forth even more. And looking at her, he would. So this is Abhi Vardhate Preeti. So one may think, oh, just by looking at each other's form and beauty, is that all it is? Then they says Gunascha, but they also consider each other's qualities. Just by thinking of Sita's qualities, Ramachandra's joy and beauty would increase. And she would consider his qualities, and her joy and beauty would increase. And it would keep on increasing without any stoppage. And then, the way their love would multiply mutually, Valmiki says, Tasyascha bharta dvigunam hridaye parivartate. He would enter, he would be residing in her heart, and his joy and love would double. Dviguna. We use the word, or I use the word increased. Actually, it's not correct. I should use the word multiplied. Increase is very small. Multiply. His love multiplied. Her love multiplied for him. Dviguna. Each time it would double. And this is the very important section or the phrase. Antargatam api vyaktam akhyati hridayam hrida. Antargatam, any thought, desire that was born in each other's heart. Vyaktam, as soon as it manifested, akhyani, it was conveyed without speech. It was conveyed from one heart to the other. Hridayam, Hrida. By one's heart, it was conveyed into the other heart. Most people have to speak their feelings or show it in their body. Between these two, words didn't have to be expressed. Even eye contact did not need to be there. Just that any desire that arose in the heart is conveyed into the other heart. That is how they are so lovingly united with each other. And Valmiki says that as their love is being exchanged like this, Sita was shining as if she is Goddess Lakshmi. In form, she looked like she's a goddess. And Shriya Rupini, and she looked like Goddess Lakshmi. The reason he says Eva, as if, or like, is because he can't directly say she is Lakshmi. Because this entire appearance is within the human race. They appear as human beings. Not like human beings, as if human beings. So it is slightly hidden, although he can't stop himself. So he says, Devata vihi samarupe. She looks like a Devata, a goddess. Sita, Shri Iva Rupini. She's the embodiment of Lakshmi. She is Lakshmi Devi. And Ramachandra, Valmiki says, Vibhu Shriya Vishnur Iva Amareshwara. And he shone forth like Lord Vishnu. So he's already telling us this is Vishnu and Lakshmi, or Vishnu Tattva and Shakti Tattva. But moving around, living life as if they were human beings. So that's the frame, because whatever is going to come up, if you don't have a context or frame of reference, it can, and I sense that it will be confusing. So whenever such quandaries or confusions arise in the Ramayana, we heard Maharaj tell us that there are 4 levels on which the Ramayana is operating. The story level, or the plot, if you will, the dharma, the life lessons and how dharma should be operated. Tattva. The reason Tattva level is operating is because Ramayana is the incarnation of the Vedas. When Ramachandra appeared as the son of Dasharatha, the Vedas, who were so eager to always be with him and constantly glorify him, took the form of Ramayana. Prachesata Asi became Sakshat Ramayana. Tattva has to talk about the Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. That's operating there. And of course, this is the Supreme Lord and his consort, so the Leela is also operating. They are exposing to the world that what love looks like across different relationships. The primary, the secondary, and all the variations in loving exchanges. Sometimes people have a very narrow or one-dimensional view of love, especially divine love. I mean, what to speak of worldly love, that's not a reason. Divine love is not understood. Most people will use love in this world as a frame of reference to compare what that might look like. Oh, I wouldn't speak to my wife like that, or my husband, I wouldn't speak to my husband like this, or my understanding of love is this, so this doesn't fit into that. It is far beyond all of that. And they come to this world to manifest what those loving relationships look like. And the final statement is, this is something I've been thinking all morning since I've woken up, because this is a very difficult pastime to grasp for me. The 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyatva deham punar janma na iti. Janma na iti. There's no birth. But for that next birth to not happen, there is a condition. There's something that needs to be fulfilled. That one should understand Janma, the appearance of the Lord, Karma, which means his activities. The Supreme Lord doesn't have karma like we have, but activities. And he says, you just don't understand birth and activities, there is a qualifier for those. Divyam. That means you're not mundane. So mundane logic, mundane frames of reference may only help but are not sufficient. They are necessary but not sufficient. The reason they are necessary is something otherworldly can only be accommodated, not even grasped, accommodated with some worldly examples. For example, the love between Radha and Krishna, I'm just using it, is like how a chakora bird waits for the moon. It is not like, it's far beyond, but it's an example, an analogy given so we have some, oh, that's what it looks like. But there are some things that can't be given an analogy. Just for example, sidebar here. When Rama and Ravana are fighting, Valmiki, who's considered the par excellence poet of giving the best and most apt analogies ever in history, and everyone follows from him, of how fascinating analogies he gives for our imagination to be enriched. Such Valmiki says, when Sri Rama and Ravana are fighting, the sky cannot be compared to anything. The sky's pramana is the sky itself. You can't say the sky is as big as something. The sky stands on its own. Similarly, the ocean, it stands on its own. You can't say the ocean is very vast, like. Similarly, the fight between Sri Rama and Ravana is like the fight between Sri Rama and Ravana. There is no other comparison for it. That is his inability to say, there is no way I can give an analogy for it or a simile for it. So far beyond one's intelligence is where the Leela operates. And by the grace of Guru and Parampara, we get little by little bit realizations of it. So that's the framework. In Ayodhya Kanda, since we're talking about the love between Sita and Rama, when Ramachandra has decided to go to the forest, Sita Devi wants to go alone. And there are chapters and chapters of why he disagrees she should go, and he gives her many, many reasons. And she gives back very, very strong arguments, not strongly, but strong arguments defeating Ramachandra's logic. For example, he says, you should not go to the forest because the forest is a very scary place. So she asks him, what did you tell your mother, Kausalya? Because Kausalya said, I want to go to the forest with you. What am I going to do in Ayodhya without you, Sri Rama? So Ramachandra says, I told her, you should stay in Ayodhya with Dasharatha because this is your dharma. As a wife, you stay with your husband. So she smiled at him and checkmated Ramachandra's logic. And he said, no, for another reason. Finally, she gives him an analogy. And that's one of my favorite verses, which I use in sharing with couples or people who have issues in their marriage or as to how marriage is a partnership. So she says, Na atantri vadyate veena. A veena cannot play, cannot make sound if it is not strung, if there's no string on it. Na achakro vartate ratha. A chariot or a vehicle cannot move if it does not have wheels. And she says, and for a wife, even if she has 100 sons from the husband, because the son is a representative of the family, even if she has 100 sons, her love and joy is when she is with her husband. And these two phrases are very beautiful because the string of the veena rests on the veena, bridge of the veena. And the new player will strike the string. And for the sound to come, with the other hand, the string has to be pressed onto the bridge. That's when the note comes. But anyone who hears the sweet sound of veena or any other string instrument, the person will say, the veena sounds wonderful. It's the string that's making the noise, or the sound of music. But they say the veena. So the string, because it is resting on the body of the veena, the string is the wife and the veena, the body is the husband. And all the wonderful qualities of the string are appreciated as if the quality of the veena. Just say veena is wonderful. That's as far as how the wonderful character of a wife brings glory to her husband. Then she gives the other side. If you have excellent set of wheels and the car ride is smooth, nobody will say the wheels are turning nicely. They say the car is very nice. Here the bearing are the wheels. So how wonderful a husband operates, everybody appreciates the wife. Because they're a unit. And they are together, they're inseparable, and the glory goes to the other. This is an important point because the whole pastime is about glory going to the other. I find this topic is in general a very tough topic, Agni Pariksha. I've met many people who tell me, listen, I cannot appreciate Ramachandra. I just cannot appreciate. They say he's God. And these are even devotees and children of devotees. And in mostly that's who I interact with, teenagers, younger ones for whom certain values in this world are very important. They say, I cannot understand how he can make his wife walk through the fire. Or how a pregnant wife can be sent away. We're not going to be with that second topic. The first one is also very difficult. Especially people who consider themselves moralists have a very difficult time to grasp and accommodate this pastime. But I found that if I can spend some time with such young people, and I've had a few instances like that, and just walk through how this is nothing but a pastime of love for each other. I've had multiple people turn around and say, one person says, Ram is not such a bad guy. That's the best appreciation I have. Which is the other person says, I'm amazed how much love they have for each other. I never thought of it that way. Because we consider love perhaps in a very one-dimensional way. Feminists have a rough time with this one. And the next one, other pastime too. Because why would someone doubt her character? Why would Rama doubt her character? And for devotees, it's a hard one, or a difficult one, because for one whole year, they have been in separation. And we heard yesterday, Maharaj was describing, separation is so much, although ecstasy, but grief is very intense. She looked as if she wants to give up her life. He has not been eating and sleeping, we'll come to that too. And after 1 year, they get to meet openly. They can't even meet openly. And Ramachandra's words seem very harsh. We'll hear some of those words. So it's difficult to grapple with. Yet, we will make an attempt. I don't have access to commentaries from the Acharyas on this section of Yuddha Kanda. So, I may not be able to offer you what they say and the nuances of it. But thankfully, Valmiki gives us clues itself in the shlokas, which we will look at and examine. But I don't say that I have all the answers. So what is important is, for me, as we narrate this pastime, is that you have more questions. Because questions are an indicator of a desire to know more. And if you have questions, I'd be delighted. Not that I would answer them, but I'd be delighted that it will bring a search further in us. That's I may not have all the answers. So we will begin at the end of the 111th chapter of Yuddha Kanda, which means Yuddha Kanda is almost done. And every verse that begins with Tata means we have to pay attention to it. Tato vimukta sasharam sharasanam Mahendra datta kavacham satanmah Vimuchya rosham ripunigrahat tato Rama sa saumyatvam upagato ariha. Ariha means one who destroys his enemies. Ari is enemy. Ariha, one who has finished killing all of his enemies. Tato, at that time, Vimukta Sasharam, he put down his bow and he put down all of his weapons. He took off the armor that Indra had given, Mahendra Datta Kavacham that also, he put it on the ground. But in all of this time, or during all of this time of war, because he just killed Ravana, Ramchandra is very angry. Because without anger, you can't fight a war. Narasimhadev is very, very angry at, during and after killing Hiranyakashipu, Roshan. And the Devatas wanted to see it. Jata Rosham Samyuge. That was the first, one of the 16th question that Valmiki asked. Who is he in this world whose Jita Krodha has completely overcome his anger? And yet, Jata Roshasya Samyuge Kasya Bibhrati Devascha. Who is he who, when becomes angry, the entire Devatas shudder in fear? So, Vimucha Roshan, he gave up his anger. This is an indicator that he is not an ordinary human being. At least ordinary human beings cannot say, I invited anger and I gave up anger. It is usually the other way. Anger invites me in. And then after some time says, I'll give you a few minutes to Here says, Vimucha Roshan. He gave up anger because he had killed all of his enemies. And interesting is, Rama Saumyatvam Upavada. He invited gentleness. Gentleness was evoked in him. So all anger has been subdued, and Ramchandra is that gentle, loving, lovely looking, glowing, lotus petal eyed Sri Ramchandra. Watching this entire war from the sky were all the celestial beings, Deva, Gandharva, Danava, etc. So now the war is over, fighting is done. So Devatas, Jagmuhu Svai Svair, they started going back to their own homes. And as they are going back to their homes, they are engaging in Shubha Kathaha, the wonderful auspicious stories of all the days. We have come to Lanka. In a few days, we will all return back to our own homes. And the inspiration is here is, as we return, we discuss Shubha Kathaha, the many, many wonderful, auspicious, lovely stories that we hear from Maharajas and the scriptures here. And as they are going, they are discussing how Ravana was killed, the excellent power of Sri Ramchandra, the devotion and virility of Hanuman and Lakshmana, the fidelity of Sita, because they've all witnessed it, as Hanuman has, the fidelity of Sita Devi. Sri Ramchandra told Matali, the chariot driver of Indra, thank you for the chariot and thank you for helping me. Our service has been accomplished, you may please return. So Matali with the chariot ascended back into the heavens. Then Ramchandra turned and embraced Sugriva very, very tightly, because it is Sugriva's help with which so many Vanas came, built a bridge, fought day and night to kill Ravana. Lakshmana approaches Sri Ramchandra, congratulates him for this fantastic task that he has accomplished. And they all greet each other. At that time, Ramchandra turns to Lakshmana and says, now is the time for you to consecrate, make Vibhishana the king of Lanka. So may all the arrangements be made. Please coronate Vibhishana as the king of Lanka. And upon Lakshmana's request, all the Vanaras were happy. They have to get water from the ocean. No, water from the oceans. So the Vanaras, after this war, run jump to all around the globe to bring water from all the four mighty oceans at that time and come back quickly with waters in golden pots. They seat Vibhishana on the throne of Lanka, do Abhisheka, and has been made king. So the Dhvani, which is unspoken, is, you've noticed, Ramachandra has not run to go see Sita yet. He is congratulating his friend Sugriva. That means his own heart, his own urge has been curbed to be able to acknowledge what others have done for him. It is nothing selfish here. He has also taken the time to coronate Vibhishana to be the king and still has not met Sita yet. It takes time to do Kirtan, Abhishek, Mantra, the whole ceremony is waiting. And finally, when his friends have been taken care of, when he has expressed his gratitude to all of them in this way, Vibhishana offered his greatest regard to Sri Ramachandra, and all the gifts that he received, as a king receives gifts, he offered it to Sri Rama and Lakshmana. That these belong to you, not to me. That's loving exchanges as to friends and brothers. And Sri Ramachandra and Lakshmana happily received those gifts and returned it back to Vibhishana. Then Ramachandra turns to Hanuman and says, Anugyapaya Maharaja Imam Saumya Vibhishana Pravishya Lanka Nagari Kaushalam Guruhi Maithili. Hanuman, please take permission from Vibhishana that you can enter into where Sita Devi is. Because now Vibhishana wouldn't mind even if Ramachandra said to Hanuman, go into Ashokavana and inform Sita. With character is so refined, he's now the king. Although his friend is the king. So Hanuman, please take permission from Vibhishana and you may enter Lanka and Kaushalam Guruhi Maithili. Please let Sita know that everything is all right. Please let Sita know that I am okay, Sugriva is okay, Lakshmana is okay, and that Ravana has been finished. Now, Vibhishana is the king. So you please let her know. So this is the second time Hanuman goes back as the messenger, Ramaduta. And please come back because she's going to convey some message. Please bring back that message to me. Hanumanji is very, very happy. He goes back, takes permission, enters Ashokavana. And he sees that Sita Devi is still Vrikshamule at the under the tree. Nirananda. Nirananda, completely devoid of any happiness or bliss. Rakshasivihi parivrita. She's still surrounded by Rakshasis because they haven't been given the order to release her yet. So Hanuman very gently, meekly approaches Sita Devi with folded hands. She's sitting there. Hanuman has arrived there, but she doesn't look at him. She doesn't even notice that he's here. And one time she glances at him, but she does not recognize Hanuman. We had such a long conversation. He brought so much joy to her. Then that she didn't recognize Hanuman means her eyes were filled with so much tear that she couldn't recognize who the person is. Then Hanuman says, I am here on behalf of Sri Rama with a message for you. Vaidehi Kushali Rama Sa Sugriva Sa Lakshmana Kushalam Chaha Siddharte Hata Shatru Amitra Jit. Ramachandra has eliminated all those who are Amitra, who are not friends or enemies that they are. Everyone is okay. We want to ask how you are doing. Ravana has been killed, Vibhishana has become the king, and here is Ramachandra's message to you. And this is the message that he conveys verbatim. And Ramachandra's message is, O Sita, I have finally, after all these months, who have had no sleep at all, been able to win you back. Please don't have any fear anymore, because Vibhishana is the king. He's our friend. He's our friend. And very soon, Vibhishana is coming to see you. Having spoken these words, one would assume that Sita would become very happy and say something. Unfortunately, no. Valmiki says, Eva Mukta to Sita, Devi, Sita, Shashi Nibhanana. She was glowing like a full moon hearing this message from Sri Ramachandra. Praharshena va arudha. Became so delighted in her heart. But Vyahatuna was not able to speak a word at all. That is the ecstasy in her joy. When Dhruva Maharaj saw Lord Krishnagurva standing in front of him, couldn't utter a word. The joy was so immense. I mean, my vocabulary is very limited. I can only say immense, but it must be something that was so intense and immense. I couldn't speak. Then Hanuman said, Oh Devi, what are you thinking about? Please say something. So Sita Devi says, I am so overpowered with joy that I could not utter anything for a few moments. Oh Hanuman, I am so happy. And look at her heart. She is happy. And she says, I have nothing to offer you. I am so helpless that I have nothing to offer you. She is not going to, oh my Ramachandra, let's run, go see. I have nothing to offer you, Hanuman. Nahi pashyami tat saumya prithvivyam apivana. On this earth, there is nothing suitable that can match what you have done for me. What about if I give something from the heavenly realms for you? It will not even match what you have done for me. So, in this entire universe of 14 realms, the three realms of the universe, there is nothing matching for what you have done for me. So I'm helpless. I cannot offer you anything. So Hanuman becomes so overcome by affection for her that he says, Sita Devi, only you can utter words like that. No one else in this world can speak like this. Your speech is full of substance. That means it is not things that matter to me. What matters is your heart, how you think of me and the words you use for me. Many years ago, once as I was driving back from a Bhakti Vriksha program, I was driving Guru Maharaj, and some conversation happened. Maharaj said to me, people may not remember what you did for them. People may also not remember what you said to them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And Hanuman is saying, your speech is full of substance. Means I'm receiving your love and affection in my heart. And he says, you may crown me the emperor of the entire universe and it will have no meaning for me. All I care for is that Ravana has been killed and that I have seen Ramachandra being victorious in this battle. Now, so hearing this, Sita now gives him a greater compliment. And Sita says, no Hanuman, only you can utter words like this. Only you can utter words like this, Buddhya hi ashtaya yuktam tvameva arhasi bhashitum. You can speak like this because your intelligence has been decorated with these 8 qualities. And therefore your speech is so refined. So you want to know what those 8 qualities are, right? Yeah. Because if you said no, I would have still said no. First quality is shushusha. Shushusha means the eagerness to hear discussions about the soul and super soul. Shravanam, readiness to hear such katha. Keenness and readiness. I may be keen, but if I'm not ready. Shravanam. Chaiva grahanam. Grahanam, receptivity, ability to hold what was spoken, what was heard. Dharanam, power of retention. You may hear wonderful katha, feel elated, and it may go away. Dharanam is when the message enters the heart. And he says reasoning. Reasoning is I heard something and I reconcile all of it within me. I bring references from other places, other words that I've heard. My own experiences of the truth in those statements, and I have some reasoning for it. And then offer propositions against that idea. That means I'm testing that. What if this? And I answer that question. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur would walk on his veranda every day, offering propositions and act as if he is one of the opponents and give counter arguments, and he will defeat those arguments and he will offer. That's part of one's own way of making the message go in further. The faculty of comprehension, one should understand what is being spoken and comprehend it, not just language but the meaning of it, and also realization of the truth. And it says Tattva Jnanam cha, Tattva Jnana, one should have knowledge about Tattva. One must study, one must hear, one must serve those who are giving such information, such knowledge. And it says Dhi Guna, these are the qualities of Dhi, intelligence, or intellect. She tells you are the most praiseworthy son of Vayu, and you have all these wonderful qualities. Balam, Shauryam, Shrutam, Sattvam, Vikrama, Daksham, Teja, Kshama, Dhruti, Sthiryam, Vinita, humility. Na samshaya, without a doubt, all these qualities reside in you, Hanuman. Not just these, etecha anya, and all other additional qualities. Gunas, tava eva shobhana, and they decorate you. You are glowing because of those qualities, Hanuman. Valmiki says, Hanuman stood there, received her blessings in an unembarrassed way. Unembarrassed, he is not diminutive of himself, but Vinitavat accepted it with all humility. He didn't say, no, I'm not like that at all, Sita. He just accepted whatever, because the words of Sita, he's taking them as blessings. It's not that I have these qualities, that she is empowering me with these qualities. We want to see if this might work better. So Hanuman wants to offer some service to Sita Devi. In a Vaishnava exchange, it is never only taking. It is always giving and taking. At least Rupa Goswami told us that That is how you develop affection for each other. Dadati Prati Grinati. So from his side, Dadati is, he says, Sita Devi, all these Rakshasis who have been surrounding you and tormenting you, you just say the word, say yes, and I will kill all of them right now. And Sita Devi says, no, why would you kill them? Ah, they have been tormenting you like this. No, Hanuman. Think, consider it carefully. What are they doing? They are following the order of their master, just as you are. So you cannot fault them for following the order of their master. And yet, Hanuman, who in this world doesn't make a mistake? So you should be tolerant and forgiving. They're just doing what they're being asked to do. No need to kill them or anything. Okay. Is there a message? So she said, I want to know when I will see Sri Ramachandra. Yeah. So Hanuman tells her, very soon, Sita Devi, you will see the full moon-like face of Sri Ramachandra. You have no doubt about it. And quickly came back to Sri Ramachandra to convey the message. So Ramachandra wants to know, what did she say? So Hanuman told her, oh, she is eagerly waiting. So Ramachandra turns to Vibhishana and says, Vibhishana, you please. Oh, before he said, there's an important. Hanuman says, she said, Drashtum ichhami bhartaram iti. She said, I want to see my husband. Ramachandra. And we know there are certain words and phrases that tell us that something is changing in the story. If I read it, we may not catch it, but I'll point to the word and we'll hopefully catch that at that time. So it says, Eva Mukto Hanumata Ramo Dharma Britam Vara Agachat Sahasa Dhyanam Ishat Bhashva Paripurta. Hearing the words of Hanuman, Sri Rama, and the adjective given for him is Dharma Bhritam Vara. Bhritam, those who carry, support, and restore Dharma. Dharma Bhritam Vara. The best of those who support and carry Dharma. That is the adjective given for Rama. So that is the pivotal word with which the story begins to change. Agachata Sahasa. Immediately in Rama's eyes, filled dhyanam, he began to meditate, he began to consider something, he became deeply thoughtful. Isha Bhashpa Parip, and his eyes filled with tears. Something's going to happen. As soon as we hear dhyanam sahasa, immediately became thoughtful and his eyes were filled with tears. And what is going to happen? He is dharma vratam. Dharma Bhritam Vara, the best of. So he's considering something from a dharma perspective at this point. So and Valmiki says Ramachandra drew a deep breath. So any one of us, before you have to say something that's very difficult, or you have to go into some place where you're going to be tested or examined or grilled or something, you have to fill your lungs with air. Valmiki says, Ramachandra Dirgham Abhinishtvasya, took a deep breath because this is going to be something very difficult right now. And in a very thundering, I shouldn't say thundering, made us like a rumbling voice of the cloud, which means it's full of gravity. Whenever Lord Vishnu's voice is compared to a rumbling cloud, it means his words are full of gravity. So he turned to Vibhishana and told him, very quickly go to where she is and tell her to take a bath, decorate herself with all varieties of jewels, dress herself in the finest of garments, and then she should come to see her husband. So when Vibhishana heard this, I'm sure many of us must be thinking, why? Why not just quickly go meet her? She's been waiting. You've been waiting. So Vibhishana said, actually, Sri Ramachandra, her clothing is her devotion for you. What can be a better adorning than that? But Ramachandra insisted, so Vibhishana said, I will follow what you said. And he went to Sita Devi. And told her, please, this is the request of Sri Ramachandra. And Sita Devi turns to Vibhishana and says, I want to see him like this. I want him to see me in this condition. Because this is how I've been pining for him. So he says, I know Sita Devi, that all these emotions are there, but we are all supposed to follow the order of our master. He's my master too, he's yours as well. So please, so I said, okay. Feeling a lot of distress, she dressed herself up and in the Sita Kalyanam section, there is a phrase, Sarva Abharana Bhoshita. But she was decorated from head to toe in all varieties of the most glowing jewels and the most resplendent sari, and every body limb was decorated with jewels. It was shining so much that Ramachandra didn't know where Sita was standing. That's the kind of effulgence she has. That Janaka has to say, E.M. Sita, she's here. So she dressed up like that, and Vibhishana had her in a palanquin, asked her to sit up, and the palanquin was carried by the Rakshasas, and she was being brought there. Now, the Vanaras have never seen Sita. The Rakshasas have never seen Sita. This is the first time. But as she's coming in, she's in a palanquin. So, and the palanquin is covered with the finest of cloth, shining. The cloth itself is very shiny. Inside there is Sita, who's shining even more, but nobody can see her. And so the palanquin was kept at a distance. Vibhishana came up to Ramachandra and said, Sita is here. Our Sri Ramachandra tells Vibhishana, let Sita get down from the palanquin and come walking to him. She's a princess. She never walks on the ground per se. She's always carried in palanquin. And while this conversation is happening, the entire, how many Vanaras are there? Billions of Vanaras are there. How many Rakshasas are there? All of Vibhishana's bunch of them are there. Children, women, elderly, they're all there. And they are clamoring around that palanquin because they want to get a glimpse of Sita. So Vibhishana sees all this ruckus around the palanquin. So he tells his guard, the Rakshasas with mighty staffs, disperse the crowd. And so the crowd like, hey, move aside, move aside. And they're all Vanaras, monkeys, so they're fidgety and it's very difficult to scatter them. Ramachandra looks at it and becomes very upset. He says to Vibhishana, what is it that you're doing? These are all my people. They have fought, they have given up their lives, they've given up their families, they've come to fight for me, and you won't allow them to see Sita. But the problem is that royal ladies or ladies in general are not necessarily seen in public like that. Especially a royal lady. She can't just be walking on the street and people ogling at her. It's not something that's done. And here is Rama who's defying it and saying, no, let her walk, let them all see who she is. Vibhishana, and it says Ramachandra's eyes became red in anger at Vibhishana's attendants. And Valmiki says, Pura Dahan Iva, as if he would burn them with his gaze. So they all stepped back and said, oh, you're okay. Then Ramachandra says, very, very amazing couple of statements. These are lovely lessons. He's showing his gratitude for all the Vanaras. So he says, Na grihani, na vastrani, na prakarani stikriya, nedrusha raja satkara, vrittam avaranam striya. Avaranam striya, what a woman should be draped with. Na grihani, that means you can't necessarily hide a woman inside a house. Na vastrani, that the cloth is not necessarily a protection. Na prakara, not some high multi-level building. Nedrisha raja satkara, nor with any royal satkara means royal treatment. Vrittam avaranam striya, the greatest dress or protection for a woman is her character. But there are certain conditions under which common people can have the darshan of such ladies. Vyasaneshu. When there is some difficulty in that family, the lady can come out and ask for help. Nakruchreshu. When there is some sort of adversity. Yuddheshu. When there is a war going on. Because Mandodari came running to see Ravana. Swayamvare. During the Swayamvar, Rukmini, with the garland in her hand, came. Draupadi also. Everybody gets to see. Otherwise, these royal ladies are not visible for ordinary people. Other princes, other people in the assembly can see them. Nakrata, during a yajna. Vivahe, during a wedding ceremony. Darshanam, dushyate striyana. At that time, if they are observed by others, it does not cast any aspersion on them. And Sita is in distress because she has been captured. So there is no fault if others see her. Darshane nasti dosha. There is no fault in others seeing her. Therefore, leave the palanquin there, ask her to come. Dun, dun, dun. Sita gets off the palanquin, walks up to Sri Ramachandra. What do you think happened? No. Not Haribol yet. Kalatra nirapekshascha. He ignored her. Inkitascha darune. In his face were indicators, very intense indicators that he is neglecting her. Apritam eva, as if he has no love for her. Sitayam tarkayanti sma raghavam. She, her eyes waiting for 10 months eagerly. She didn't even look at Ravana, she didn't look at Ashokavana, his opulence, everything. She was in the middle of all of it. She never opened her eyes to look at any of this. She shunned it all. She's come to Sri Ramachandra. She's drinking him in with her eyes. And his eyes are cast down as if he's ignoring her. He doesn't love her at all. The first reaction of Sita is lajja. Out of shyness, she shrunk into her limbs like this. Any of you thinking badly of Ramachandra? She shrunk into her limbs, and as she is looking upon her husband, she has all these mixed feelings. Vismaya, affection, excessive delight. But her mind is still agitated because why wouldn't he look at her and smile, and he may not embrace her because it's in public, but something, some acknowledgement, she's waiting for it. And guess what? No acknowledgement. Sometimes, I mean, I don't want to make a parallel, but just as I'm narrating this, I've had my own personal experience, and I'm sure others have had the experience that I have met such and such devotee or my Guru Maharaja for such a long time, and they don't even look at me. She's thinking, what is going on? So then, Ramachandra, while he's Pashyastam to Ramasya Samipe, Hridayam Apriyam, Janavad Abhayat Ragyo, Bhavuva Hridayam Dvidha. Hridayam Dvidha, his heart was split. What is the split? He wants to acknowledge her, but there is something else that needs to be done. And this is the first in the entire Ramayana. So far, at least my experience, Ramachandra has never been addressed as king because he never became king. But Valmiki says, Ragyo, the king, Janavad Abhayat, out of fear of what people might say, Bhavuva Hridayam Dvidha, his heart split into two. On the one hand this, on the other hand that. And he says, all the monkeys are there, all the Rakshasas are there, Vibhishana, Sugriva, they live. Oh, this is the Sita, this is the Sita. Yes, she is the most suitable consort for Ramachandra, beautiful. I mean, just by seeing her, they knew what, and Hanuman also had reported so long what all he saw, what he heard from her. So they were all eagerly waiting. Ramachandra says, well, I have accomplished this task of killing Ravana. And the reason I did it is because I was insulted that he took you away. I did this to redeem my honor. Let it be known to you and all, Sita, that all that I have carried on is thanks to my friends, Vibhishana and the Vanaras, but I did not do all of this for you. What? Far back he kept saying, I cannot live without Sita. Hanuman, we will hear tomorrow night Hanuman's report of what is going on in Ramachandra's heart. And he tells her, I did not do this for you. Here you are standing in front of me, but there is a little doubt about your character. But there is a clue in this verse. I'll read the verse and now we'll hear the clue. Prapta Charitra Sandeha. There is a doubt about your character. Mama Pratimukhe Sthita. You're standing in front of me and facing me. Deepo Netrastu Yasyeva Pratikulasi Me Dridha. You are Pratikula to me. The whole thing is Sita Devi is Anukulya, favorable. He says, you are unfavorable for me, just like, and here's the clue, just like a man with a cataract cannot look at a lamp. The lamp is unfavorable for a man with cataract. So our acharyas say he is indicating, no one else has understood, this is happening in public, by the way. Right? public admonishing. But he's saying, like a person with cataract, so for such a person, a lamp is unfavorable. Now, the lamp is pure because it is glowing. The fault is in the person with cataract.
Yes.
But the words is used, others are still shocked. We went back to the first canto. The words are not necessarily have to be spoken, they understand each other's heart. But the drama that's unfolding out here is painful for everybody. I see a bunch of people crying here. It is painful. But he says, Deepa, Deepo Netradurasyeva Pratikulasime Dridha. Very much strongly. Therefore, now this is the painful one, hold on to your hearts. Therefore, O daughter of Janaka, I grant you leave to do as you like. You can choose any of the 10 directions that you want. North, south, east, west, up, down, anywhere. 8 directions, top and bottom. Anywhere in the universe, you are free to go. What man born in a noble family can take you back? When you have lived in someone else's home for such a long time. While I'm here boasting of my lineage, that I'm from the Ikshwaku line, there will be a stigma. There will be a stigma if I accept you back because you were in the arms of Ravana. And he had a very lustful eye for you. There is no more attachment for you in my heart. Therefore, you may do as you like. So, I have made this utterance. You may go with Lakshmana if you like. She treated Lakshmana as a son. He treats her as a mother. You can go with Lakshmana if you like. Or maybe you can fix your mind on Bharata. Maybe even Shatrugna. If not, how about this Rakshasa Vibhishana? Or Sugriva? You can choose anyone you love. And seeing you, whose exterior is so ravishing, you've been detailed in Ravana's report. Sita endured this separation, but now you can choose wherever you want to go. Tata Priyarha Shravana Tada Priyam. He is the most beloved of her heart. When she heard these Apriyam words, Priyad Upasprutya Chirasya Manini. Chirasya, very long time. She's been hearing this, and this is where Valmiki tells us her name as Manini. What is Manini? One meaning of word Manini means very, very worthy of respect. Another word Mana. So this is going to go into Mana pastime. She's going to become angry. Love in separation has many features. Rupa Goswami tells us one aspect of Vipralambha is called Apurva Raga, the attachment before meeting for the first time. Then after they have met, then there is separation. It's called Pravasa, separation for a long time. Pravasa, living somewhere else. So the hero and the heroine, or the lord and his consort, have been separated for a long time. Pravasa. Another feature of Vipralambha Bhava is Man, anger. Devotional, divine, but anger is a feature. So he says, Priyad Upashvutya Chirasya Manini, मुमोच भाष्पम रुदति तदा वृषम गजेंद्र हस्ताभिहतेव वल्लरी. Excellent analogy here. So she Priyad upasrutya chirasya mumocha bhashvam. She cried for a very long time. So there is silence by all of them. Remember the entire commotion and chaos from monkeys. Valmiki uses the word killa killa. They make this noise because they are very restless. There is stunned silence. The Rakshasas are stunned. Vibhishana is stunned. Everyone's stunned. It's coming up. And they're all, nobody said anything. It's abject quietness. And Sita alone is crying for a very long time. Mumocha bhashpam rudati tada. How was she crying and shivering? How was her heart hurt? Brusham Gajendra Hasta. As if when a mighty elephant is walking and very callously, carelessly hits a creeper. Hathi Mata offense is the elephant in a garden that completely rummages and destroys a garden. Can uproot trees, shrubs. What to speak of creepers? Creepers are generally very delicate. That's why they wind themselves around a tree trunk, because they have no support for themselves. Such a vine, when hit by an elephant, immediately falls like that. Sita. This is the cliffhanger. We're going to stop here. It's 8:20. We stop at 8:30 and then we continue back later. So the cliffhanger, Valmiki is an amazing cliffhanger. He ends the chapter here, so this is where we're going to stop. We can end early. Anyone want to share any reflections? Maybe the Maharajas want to share something, you want to comment on something, or shed some light.
Valmiki ends the chapter with what you just said.
Yes, the final verse of this chapter. Gajendra hasta abhihateva vallari. That's it, and the chapter ends.
Three things. I don't know if there's a person in this room, and I'm not one, that didn't cry. This whole changed too much.
Yeah.
Too much. My mind just went blank the other day. Could you, in the very beginning, they're one. And that was one of the messages that I was delivering, and you said, you went way back to the very, very, very beginning. But this comes when Hanuman sees Sita, and he gets these realizations about her heart. And they're one. Valmiki uses singular. Both are one.
Yeah.
Not a mistake.
Yes.
Could you say it again? Like the stain and, what's Ramachandra's message? Why is that, how does the oneness, besides stimulating an emotion in her, that's the rasa topic.
Yes.
But on the practical human topic, the ideal king, and, because Ravana had his hands on her, and therefore, see you later.
Yes, he says. He makes an accusation. He says, what man of spirit and born in noble family for his part would take back with an eager mind a woman who has dwelt in another's house simply because she has been kindly disposed towards him in the past. So he's saying, in the past, yeah, you and I have love for each other, but I'm coming from a noble family. How can I accept you back when you stayed in Ravana's home? While boasting of my lineage, because I tell everyone I'm from the Ikshvaku family, how can I accept again you who were squeezed into the arms of Ravana and regarded by him with an evil, lustful eye?
That's Shishupal saying that to Amba. Yes?
Yes.
That's the human side. The morality of the ideal king.
Yes. And so the clue given by Valmiki, as if he's saying that something is coming, he refers to Rama as Dharma Bhritam, the carrier of Dharma, or the maintainer of Dharma, and Ragya as the king.
So then one more, here's the third one. The subtle point about cataract. Could you repeat that
Yes.
subtle point one more time?
Sure. Prapta charitra sandeha mama pratimukhe stita. You're standing in front of me and there is an aspersion or a stigma on your character. And the character stigma is he's saying that you've been residing in someone else's home. Deepo netra atura seva. Netra atura, one who has cataract in his eyes, for him, looking at a lamb is very unfavorable.
But the problem is with him,
Yes.
not with the man.
That is the hint. That's the heart speaking to the heart without the rest of the crowd knowing. That he's not making it so public that the fault is in me that I cannot see good in you.
Does she understand it?
Is coming up. Yes, she does. But I left it as a cliffhanger, so there's some churning there. I had a very hard time studying this. It shattered me for a while. I remember when you were saying that there are people who say, I cannot even touch Ramayana because it is very, very painful. And the reason I started with the Balakanda verses of how they are so united in their heart, they're living in each other's heart, is to tie it back up at the end as to what she does. There are so many layers to what's happening here.
And that's the case.
And she understands. And that's on the transcendental side, the heart side, the rasa side.
Yes.
But she's devastated.
She's
Cries,
devastated.
Cries and cries.
Manini, she's very angry. There's this anger from that sadness. And she's going to, I couldn't think of a better phrase, so forgive me for using it. She gives a tongue lashing to Ramachandra.
You're going to put this together as a musical, right?
Yes,
Okay.
coming up.
I can hear the violins now.
Thank you. Anyone else, please, would like to share some reflection? I don't want you to ask questions of why this, why that. My intention is that it sits. Let's all become comfortable with the discomfort.
He gave me the mic, so but it was more
Yes,
a
ma'am.
question probably,
Okay.
but also maybe a reflection. It's very hard to understand how the Lord that says Sakadeva and accepts jivas like us, with so many faults, so many things, and he says, just chant my name and I'm there for you, and he is questioning the goddess of fortune, he's
Yes.
questioning Sita Devi. It's just very, very hard to have it.
Yes. I'll offer two thoughts. For me, what helped is this verse, Janma Karma Chale Divyam. And if you want a little tongue in cheek, it says, Evam yo veti tattvadaha tyaktva devam punarjanma na iti. If you take that na from here and put it in front of tattvataha, the verse would be Janma karma chame divya yo na veti tattvataha tyaktva devam punarjanma iti. One will have another word. So it's important to understand tattvataha, the Lord and His activities, which means His heart, in the right context. That's from Ramachandra's side for now. And Vyasadeva begins Bhagavatam with Swarat. He is the, Maharaj uses the phrase, transcendental autocrat. Now let's look from the side of Sita Devi or Srimati Radharani. More importantly for us is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he's in that mood. What does he say? Astisya va padaratam pinashtumam. You may tightly embrace me. Or marmahatam karoto. You may shatter my heart. But mat prana nathastu sir. There is no one else who will take that position other than you. Now that is considered the highest expression of love. And that's what we're going to see. But from Sita's side, she has to make a case, because if she just says, okay, Ramachandra, there is no option. She can't say, I'm going to go somewhere else. If she says that, everyone will doubt, oh, Ramachandra is right, that there is some stigma in her. So she has to fight for her rightful place. But it's not so much fight. Should I reveal the thing? It is wrong. No? So she's going to fight for her rightful place. My audience doesn't want me to do that.
He has also been.
1 second. When already the rasa of this, the loving exchanges, they are so intense that ordinary persons who don't have access to it are bewildered. All the Vanaras are bewildered, including Hanuman. We'll come to see.
And the other thing is, when Guru Maharaj was giving his class, he says in one of the slides, he said, when Sita is expressing her love, and she's talking to Hanuman, she says, even if Rama was not all these things, I would still love him. So then when we contrast that, this is very bewildering. But like you said,
his heart is split into two. He has this major conundrum. He has to be a king, but he's also very loving husband. And as Bhagavad Gita says, Krishna says to Arjuna, you take on the platform of duty. That's the call to action. We are done at 8:30. No, I don't want to hold. Please hold your questions, hold your guns, and we're going to go to see that place and we'll come back. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki jai. Vanchākalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo.
Satyanand Prabhu ki
Jai.
Please give 2 minutes of attention for the announcements. Devotees, please board the same buses